collusion? No, nothing.
This had nothing to do with collusion. There was no collusion.
It's a political hoax. There's no collusion.
I know that the Attorney General, highly respected, ultimately will make a decision.
Did Donald Trump's campaign conspire with Russia, or was it all a political hoax? The highly anticipated Mueller report is now in the hands of U.S. Attorney General William Barr. 2 years of intense speculation could be almost over, but only if the report is made public. So will it be? This week, that's the big question. In one corner, you've got the U.S. president, his lawyers, and the full power of his executive branch. In the other corner, congressional Democrats who are ready for the fight of their lives. Joining me from New York is Dahlia Lithwick. She covers courts and the law for Slate magazine. So, Dahlia, after William Barr received the report from Robert Mueller, he issued this statement. It's pretty interesting. He says, "I am reviewing the report and anticipate that I may be in a position to advise you of the special counsel's principal conclusions as soon as this weekend." It kind of sounds like Barr wants to keep a lid on this report.
That's actually what the regs state. These are regulations that were put into place in the Clinton administration, and they basically say the Attorney General gets a confidential report and that he then decides what part of it he wants to report on forward. So in some sense, he's just saying what he thinks the legal parameters are, and I think he's setting expectations. You may not see the whole thing. That's what he was doing. The White House has already said that they want to have a crack at it. They want to make redactions. They want to cite executive privilege. So I think it's fair to say the White House will try to really tamp down as much as possible on information getting out. And I think it's also fair to say that Donald Trump chose Bill Barr for some reason. Again, he wrote a massive memo saying this whole thing was a mistake.
We've also been told that there are no new indictments in this report. Does that mean that Trump is safe?
I think that we always knew that it was a long shot. The guidance at the Justice Department is that we absolutely don't indict a sitting president. And so I don't think a lot of folks saw that he would be indicted with this report. I think there was some belief he might be an unindicted conspirator. Apparently, that will not happen either.
But the game's not over yet, right? Like we're hearing there's perhaps 900 pages in this report, and there will be lots of evidence that may be passed along, to the prosecutors in New York, for example.
I think that's the most important thing, Wendy, to understand is that this was a limited mandate. All he was supposed to be investigating, Mueller's entire brief, was this question of did Russians interfere in the election? Was there some quid pro quo? This side question of whether Trump obstructed justice. But there's a phenomenal field of other conduct that's been farmed out to the Southern District of New York, to Washington, D.C., to Virginia. All of those continued on, and also congressional oversight continues on. So really, this was a narrow slice of the pie, and whatever it turns out we learn is by no means the end of the story. All those other investigations, plus the congressional inquiry, really will be full throttle for the next year.
The Democrats really want to get this out. Adam Schiff is saying he's going to subpoena to get the Mueller report. Are we going to see it? Will it be leaked? Will this stay secret forever?
I think it's unlikely that it stays secret forever. I think that what you're seeing congressional Democrats doing right now is essentially posturing and saying, look, our constitutional responsibility is oversight, and if it's necessary, impeachment. We can't do that without seeing all of it.
And of course, with Watergate, there were a lot of leaks. Journalists can only hope.
Well, that's true, and I think there's an awful lot of people who are thinking that someone somewhere at the Justice Department is going to leak. So whether they subpoena the report, whether they subpoena Mueller himself to testify, or somebody leaks it out, I think that there is a good chance that the public is going to know substantially what is in the Mueller report. I think it's also really important to understand, and we've said this before on this show, but it's important to understand that Mueller's been operating in plain sight for 22 months. And so all of the indictments that he's already filed, he's already shown, deep conversations and involvement between the Trump campaign and Russia, that Russia hacked the election. So we know all that already.